Hello everybody, my name is 711 and welcome to another mono type team. So this is mono water. I decided to go with a rain dance in order to give this a lot of offensive presence. So here is an Azumarill with Sap Sipper so that I can take some grass type moves, which I'm sure will come my way. Hidden Power Grass, Giga Drain, Energy Ball, that sort of thing. So I have Aqua Jet, Waterfall, Play Rough, and Knock Off with the usual bulky offensive set for Azumarill. And I wasn't sure what item to use, so I have leftovers. Next I have a Mega Swampert, which has the usual coverage: Power Up Punch, Ice Punch, Earthquake, and Waterfall. And then I have the usual EVs for that, and the usual IVs. Okay, so next I have Politoed with Drizzle Eject Button. Usually they hold the Damp Rock, but that's banned in Monotype Battles. So an Eject Button is going to have a lot of use here. Moveset is kind of unusual, that's just what I came up with. Next I have Ludicolo with the Lumberry, with Swift Swim obviously to set up Rain Dance, then Ice Beam, Giga Drain, Surf. Can hopefully be a late game sweeper for me. And then next I have a Choice, Specs, Swift Swim, Kingdra. If something's super bulky, I can just switch this in and drop a Draco. That's the plan. That's what I'm going to stick with. He's just going to be really fast, really strong. So for the final Pokemon, I was deciding between Lantern to take electric type moves or Keldeo. I decided to go with Keldeo because Keldeo is usually very, very good on like on the OU ladder. So I brought a Keldeo with the Life Orb just to test it out. I don't have a lot of experience with Keldeo, but that's what I have. So you can see my move set there: Icy Wind, Scald, Secret Soar, and Taunt. So let's hop into a battle. Here's the first battle I have for you. It's also a mono water type team. We have some similar Pokemon. So I start off with a Keldeo. There's a Politoed. I decide to go for a Taunt just in case he wanted to Toxic me. And look, there it is. And so I can just switch into Swampert, and Politoed goes for Earthquake, which is perfectly fine with me. I switch in Swampert here, and this Politoed gets the burn, which is the death of all Swamperts. So Power Up Punch is like the only way that I can hit this thing very hard at all. So I go for an Earthquake there. It doesn't do as much as I want, and there's a Scald, and I live on 1% health with the burn damage, and I decide to save Swampert for later and go into Kingdra, who is able to eat up that Scald quite nicely. The rain goes away right there, which is kind of unfortunate. And then I miss a Draco Meteor, and I was really upset about that. So there's an Ice Beam, which is okay, I guess. And so I decide to drop a Draco Meteor there, and down goes a Politoed, and their chance of setting up the rain now is much less. Is greatly lessened. So I go back into Keldeo, because I just wasn't feeling the Keldeo, guys, in all honesty. So I decided to go for the Secret Sword there, and Blastoise loses some health, and then takes out the Keldeo. So I just felt like getting rid of the Keldeo. So in comes Politoed, and is going to take a Dragon Pulse. The eject button pops, and I decide to switch into Kingdra. This Blastoise, as you can see, is extremely bulky, and I just drop a Draco, and there goes the Blastoise, right down. Next comes Cloyster, and I know that Cloyster is very, very bad special defense, so I decide to drop a Draco, even though I already dropped a Draco. So now my special attack is incredibly, incredibly low. Now, Cloyster is a times 2 speed. Kingdra is a times 2 speed from Swift Swim. I do outspeed, and I'm able to take out the Cloister. So Kingdra is just having a field day out here. It's finally time to switch because my moves wouldn't be able to hurt it whatsoever. And I just sack off the Mega Swampert. So now I have a free switch into whatever I want, and I felt that Ludicolo would be the best thing for me. And so I set up a Rain Dance. And so I decided to go for Ice Beam. That hardly does anything, while his Ice Beam gets a critical hit. And I was like, okay, something has to change here. So I send in the Azumarill to bait a Giga Drain or Energy Ball or something like that. And he goes for Giga Drain, activates the Sap Sipper, and I get a +1 attack. And I see, oh look, he has an Assault Vest. That is why it hurts, or my Ice Beam hurts so little. So he goes for a Scald. He luckily does not get the burn, and I knock out the Ludicolo with a Play Rough. So that was awesome. Azumarill was putting in some pretty good work there. Next in comes Kingdra, and he forgot that I'm a fairy. So that was a little awkward, and there goes the Play Rough right there. And now all that's left is a Lantern. And so Lantern outspeeds me and does hefty damage. And so I go for a knockoff just so that the rest of my team is able to perform around this Lantern. And so in comes Ludicolo, and I go straight for the Giga Drain because I'm already faster. He goes for Thunderbolt, which does a good bit of damage, but it doesn't matter. Ludicolo is able to finish off the Lantern. So my team did quite well against another Mono Water team. Staying in to drop more Dracos was pretty risky, and it paid off. So in comes that was the team from before. So here's another battle where this is a Mono Dark team, which is another heart racer. Here we have a really defensive core with Mega Sableye, Tyranitar, and oh, what do you call that flapping bird? I don't remember. But anyway, in comes this Bisharp, and I go straight for the Scald. I get a turn 1 Scald burn, and I usually have pretty bad luck trying to burn things with Scald. And so this is one of the few times that I'm just pretty lucky there. So he goes for Sucker Punch, does a fair amount, which activates my eject button, and I can go into whatever I want. I decide to go into Swampert here, and just, wow, this is actually kind of slow. I decide to finish off a Mega Swampert with a Pyro Punch, and I still have 2 more turns of Rain left. This is actually pretty slow. So here is Sableye, who's able to land the Will-O-Wisp, and I go for a Waterfall here for maximum damage. That still does a lot of damage. That does a lot of damage. So he goes for the Recover, and I go for the Waterfall again, which still does a little over half. The rain stops, and then Waterfall is not going to hurt as much. So he goes for Recover again. I go for the Waterfall. I apologize, guys. This is actually a little slower than I remember it being. So here he finally goes Mega, and goes for one more Recover. And I go for Earthquake, which doesn't do too much at all. And so Swampert's pretty much doomed. I attempted an Ice Punch for a freeze. It didn't happen because I'm not that talented. And the Sableye has a full health, and Mega Swampert goes down. Next we have a Kingdra. I decided to drop a Draco on this Mega Sableye, which does crazy amounts of damage. Nothing else would be able to hit that hard. So I decided to drop another Draco. Maybe it'll KO something. No, here's a Mandibuzz. And this Mandibuzz is going to pose some problems for us because on the Switch, he decides to set up a nasty plot. Now, why I sent in a fighting type against a flying type, I don't remember. I decided to taunt just in case he wanted to do something else, set up a Toxic, a Whirlwind, a Tailwind. There's a lot of things that, or Roost. There are Defog. There's a lot of things that Mandibuzz likes to do other than attack. So he's at lowered speed, and I just narrowly missed the KO. Here's an Air Slash, and the taunt is ended. So I decided to just finish off the Mandibuzz with Politoed Scald. And so that's fine and dandy. Next out comes Tyranitar, which is going to get rid of the water. Gonna get rid of the rain. So I decided to switch into a Azumarill. I said, who can I sack off that's probably going to be, not quite as useful. I decided to switch into a Azumarill, and I missed the Play Rough. I missed the Play Rough. So luckily Aqua Jet takes out the Sableye before he even gets a chance to burn Azumarill. So at least there's that. Next comes out Weavile. And Weavile is going to have a lot of offensive presence. So there's the Fake Out and the Flinch. And so, this Sandstorm is just messing us up. I don't know what Weavile was doing here. I guess Weavile is just really bad against fairies. I was expecting a Poison Jab, honestly. So the Sandstorm subsides, and in comes this monster Hoopa. This monster Hoopa, who goes for Hyperspace Hole and takes out Azumarill. So I said, alright, the best way for me to take out this darn Hoopa is, to set up the rain again. And he goes for Calm Mind. I go for Giga Drain here. I am faster at this point. I'm still very surprised at how little these moves are doing. So I decide to go for Surf for maximum damage in the rain. He goes for Hyperspace Hole again. I don't know if this thing... Well, he's not Assault Vest because he went for Calm Mind. He might be choiced back. No, he's not even choiced at all. So Kingdra goes for Surf here. And I decided that to wrap up this battle, I'm not going to give him the advantage of the sand. So I swap in Politoed, and what do you know? Politoed survives, goes for Scald, which does not as much damage as I thought. And so I go right back into Kingdra, and I just hit it with a Surf. I say, you know what? Draco Meteor might not kill, Draco Meteor might miss. I decided to do the safe thing, go for Surf, and it paid off. So, why was I able to win that one? I was able to win because Kingdra's power, Kingdra's just raw power, was able to knock out the biggest threats of the Mega Sableye and the Hoopa Unbound. So now I'm up against a Mono Electric team. I couldn't find a Mono Electric or a Mono Grass team, so I decided to ask 2 Adamant to help me out here. Keldeo actually speed ties with Galvantula. I predict the Sticky Web and I go for Taunt, and so I switch into a Azumarill here once the Keldeo went down, just predicting a Grass type move, and I'm able to take out the Galvantula right after it sets up the Sticky Web, and then Jolteon comes in and knocks out the Azumarill. And so I go into Mega Swampert. Jolteon is able to Shadow Ball. I go for Power Up Punch, which does a lot of damage. This Sticky Web is really unfortunate because I have, what, three Pokemon that deal with Swift Swim. And so that's at a pretty big disadvantage here. And so Politoed comes in, and Heliolisk predicts the switch and goes for Glare. And now Zapdos comes in, Politoed switches, goes to Kingdra with the minus speed now. And I'm going to just drop a Draco and take out that Zapdos. Next comes in Raikou, who knows that it's safe to come in because Raikou has really good special defense, and I'm at half special defense. So he goes for a Discharge when I send in Swampert, and that works out for me. And I go for an Earthquake, which takes out the Raikou. Shadow Ball is able to hurt a lot. And then Heliolisk was actually packing Hidden Power Ground. So I know that Heliolisk can take care of literally any water type, really. So I keep switching around Politoed here over and over again to set up the rain for my other Pokemon. Heliolisk has the dry skin, so I'm actually doing him a favor a little bit. Heliolisk goes for Glare there, and the Lumberry is able to take it out, take out the Paralysis. And he just kills Ludicolo with the Hyper Voice. So I'm in a pretty good situation here, so I can just drop a Draco on the Heliolisk. And all that's left now is for me to use this last turn of rain. Hopefully I do not die to something that Manectric can dish out. Goes for Volt Switch. And so I decide to switch into Politoed for the rain. Volt Switch is able to do a lot of damage. And then I switch back into Kingdra because of the eject button. I live, and that could have easily been the end of the battle, for me, because had Manectric knocked out Kingdra, then he could have destroyed Politoed with a Volt Switch. So that was an extremely intense battle. That was very close. We both made some really good switches. We both made some really good plays, and I came out on top this time. So thank you guys for watching. If you enjoyed, please make sure to like this video and subscribe for more to come. And I think that this monotype whole series I'm doing is going to be every Saturday for a while. So let me know what monotype you want me to try out. Please leave some suggestions if you want, and I'll see you guys next time. Peace.